meters. At bottom. Repeat. At bottom.
At the bottom? Yep.
Let's assume you went to the Mariana Trench, deep sea. The Mariana Trench is one of the deepest parts of the ocean and the deepest location on Earth. It's approximately 11,034 meters, or 36,201 feet deep, which is almost 7 miles. The deepest point of the Mariana Trench is called Challenger Deep. It's actually in the southwestern part of the trench and 10,994 meters below sea level, according to the latest information. But the interesting question is, who discovered the Mariana Trench? Mariana Trench was first found by the British research vessel Challenger, which actually found it in 1875. This is where the name of the deepest point in the world comes from. The Mariana Trench is originally located in the western Pacific, east of the Philippines, and approximately 124 miles east of the Mariana Islands. The Mariana Trench is a crescent-shaped scar in the Earth's layer that measures about 1,500 miles long and 43 miles wide. The distance between the surface of the ocean and the trench's deepest point, which lies about 200 miles southwest of the U.S. territory of Guam, which is approximately 7 miles or 11 kilometers.
The most advanced, deepest diving submersible currently on the planet. The DSV limiting factor, which is rated to unlimited ocean depth.
Look at that. Do you see that?
Yeah.
How it looked like a wave?
Just because of its extreme depth, the Mariana Trench has a continuous darkness, and the temperature is about a few degrees above freezing. The pressure of the water in the Mariana Trench is a crushing 8 tons per square inch in the bottom.
And as you can see on our monitors, we have some other things. This is where we dove just yesterday, the deepest point in the Mediterranean Sea, the Calypso Deep. And then in the center here was actually where we dove 10 months ago. This is the Challenger Deep, the deepest point in the ocean.
Or about 1,000 times above the standard atmospheric pressure at sea level. It's understood that pressure increases with depth. As we all know that Mount Everest is a massive challenge for mountain climbers because of its insane height and the weather conditions. But most surprisingly, if Mount Everest were ever placed in the depth of the Mariana Trench, the peak of the mountain would still be more than 1 mile underwater, which is hard to believe. Well, thousands of climbers have successfully climbed Mount Everest, which is the highest point on Earth, but on the other side, only 2 people have descended to the planet's deepest point, the Challenger Deep, in the Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench. If we compare Mount Everest, which is at 8,848 meters above sea level,
Human beings simply aren't built to function at the cruising altitude of a 747.
and Mariana Trench, 10,994 meters below sea level, you can be sure that this is true. It seems that diving into the Mariana Trench is not as easy as climbing up to Mount Everest. Despite the ever-increasing number of people climbing the Everest summit, those who dived into the Mariana Trench can be counted with fingers. So far, only 3 people have dived into the deepest trench in the world. The first and only time humans descended into the Challenger Deep was about 50 years ago. In 1960, Jacques Piccard and Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh achieved this goal in a U.S. Navy submersible, a bathyscaphe called Trieste. After a 5-hour struggle, the pair spent a scant 20 minutes at the bottom of the Mariana Trench and were unable to get any photographs due to clouds of silt stirred up by their passage. Until Piccard and Walsh's historic dive in the Mariana Trench,
World, and people are constantly referring to where we went. We went over 55,000 miles during our journey on the ship, and you can see all the different trenches. We went as far as the Malloy Deep off of Svalbard. We went to the Puerto Rican.
scientists had discussed whether life could exist under such extreme pressure or not. But at the bottom, the Tris floodlight illuminated a creature that Picard thought was a flatfish. A moment that Picard would describe with excitement in his book about the journey in the deep sea. They also observed a different variety of critters. There were some small, translucent animals gently moving about. The team also found 4 new species of amphipods, or shellless crustaceans. They found one 8,530 feet below the surface, one 14,600 feet, and 2 at the deepest point they reached. Despite the lack of light and the hostile acidic conditions in the trench, a number of organisms live there. It's assumed that there are approximately more than 200 microorganisms and small creatures that live there, including crustaceans and amphipods.
Visible to the naked eye, drastic changes are taking place.
The 3 most common organisms at the bottom of the Mariana Trench are xenophyophores, amphipods, and small sea cucumbers, or holothurians. As more journeys eventually explore the trench, it's almost certain new species will be discovered there, and also a new type of snailfish was found in the trench. They also discovered brightly colored rocky outcrops, possibly created by microbes on the seabed, and collected samples of rock from the seafloor. Humanity's impact on the planet was also evident in the deep sea with the discovery of plastic pollution. It's something that other expeditions using landers have seen before. Millions of tons of plastic enter the oceans each year, but little is known about where a lot of it ends up. The next visitor did not arrive until 50 years later in 2012, when a famous filmmaker and science fiction aficionado, James Cameron, decided solo dive to the Challenger Deep in a submarine he especially designed for himself. Cameron was able to spend 3 hours there, and luckily he captured video evidence and took many photos. He is a Hollywood filmmaker after all. The huge pressures took a toll on his equipment though. Batteries drained, sonar died, and some of his vessel's thrusters malfunctioned, making it hard to maneuver. And there you have it, Mariana Trench. Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments below. To get more content like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.